Hi there everyone, I am going to show you today how you can save yourself a little bit of time during maths and allow some of your more independent students to get into the habit of checking their own work without you having to tear yourself away to mark it all for them. Okay, this is worth saying this might not work with some things. This will work with any maths work that has a numerical definite answer. Okay, that can be typed in a specific way. So addition, subtraction, money, multiplication. This won't work with subjects like graphs. This won't work with questions that potentially it'll work with questions that have more than one answer, because you can add more than one answer onto this form, but it might not work with questions that have variable answers. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you're thinking about how to deploy this. But for a good 95% of your maths lessons, this is going to be really useful for you. Okay, so what we're going to look at is how that we can use a Google form to be a self-marking quiz that can allow students to check their own work, but then also with one of the new features on forms, resubmit their work once they've self-checked it. Okay, so it might sound really complicated. It's not. This, once you've got into the habit, this will take you about 3 minutes to set up, and it will save you so much more time during your lessons. It will be totally worth it. So here are the three things that I've got. I first of all opened up just a blank Google form and called it maths test, because this is what we're testing. Just give it any title that you need. I have a maths worksheet. It can be whatever you need. And in this case, I've also opened up a Jamboard, because I'm just going to show you how you can deliver all of this via the computer rather than having to print out loads of paper and hurting the environment. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need some questions, and I also need some answers. So for that, I'm just going to use Control Shift F5, and I'm going to copy out my questions. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm just going to paste that directly into a Jamboard. So what this is going to allow me to do, it's going to allow me to add my questions to the Jamboard, and it will allow the students to show their workings out live on here, using the pen tool and their touch screens or a mouse or a writing pad if we get some of those. Okay. So it just means that you don't have to print it out. At this stage, you could just print out a worksheet and let them do it by hand on paper as well. It's purely up to you. I just think this makes it a little bit neater and easier to use at other times. So the next thing I'm going to need is the answers to my first worksheet. So this is where our Google Forms come in. So at the moment, this won't self-mark. It would collect our answers, but it wouldn't self-mark it. So we need to change it, first of all, to be a quiz, not a quizzes. Quizzes is a separate website, really, really useful. But for this one, we're using a Google form. Okay, and there's reasons for that. So I've just clicked up in the settings icon, which will bring up my first page. In the general settings, the thing that you need to make sure you have is that you have edit after submit selected. So what this allows, it allows the student to put all their answers in, submit it, it will self-mark, and then it will allow them to edit any answers they got wrong, and then resubmit it to see if they get the right answers the second time round. The other thing that we're going to need to change is here where it says quizzes. And we want to make this a quiz. So now this will self-mark. Okay? That's the only thing. Make sure that you do not turn on lock mode. If you turn on lock mode, it will lock out all other websites, and they will only be able to use this form. So you don't want that active at the moment. You can release the mark immediately after each submission. So that's not after each question. That's after they submit the form. So you're going to want that so they can self-mark. Okay, and you are going to want to turn off correct answers, because what that will do, it will show them the correct answer for anything that they've got wrong, and you do not want that. You don't want them to be able to see the correct answers, because then they can just copy and paste it over. Okay, so those are the only things that we've changed, and I'm going to press save. So I now have a quiz. So I'm not even going to type in a question here. I'm just going to say 1. I'm going to change this so they can type in a short answer. Okay, so question 1, and now I'm going to click this button called Answer Key. This will allow us to put in a correct answer and change the point value. So I'm going to make this question worth 1 point. And I'm going to add in the correct answer. So the correct answer for question 1 is 11. And I'm going to select mark all other answers incorrect because there's only going to be one answer, and that is 11. I'm then going to put done. So I now have question 1 with its correct answer. I'm now going to repeat that for all the other answers. So I'm going to come in, question 2. It would be helpful if these were numbered. So again, when you're setting up your Jamboard, you might just want to go in and number all of these to make sure they go 1, 2, 3, 4, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to call this question 2 is going to be 15. So again, I'm going to change it to a short answer. Question 2, 15. 1 point, done. Now, to speed up the process, I'm going to use the copy. So it's going to duplicate that. So now I just need to change that to 3, go into my answer key, and I need to change the answer to 22. Select done, and then duplicate for my next question. And then just do that for every question that you have. If you've got a question that might have more than one correct answer, and some math questions might do, then you can add another answer in here. And if they put either of those 2 answers, they will get it correct. Remember, if you're working with something like money, you're going to need to put in the pound sign and always make sure that they run to 2 decimal places. Otherwise, that won't be correct in the eyes of functional skills. Okay, so if you're working with measure, make sure that you put the unit of measure. So if you're working 22 meters or 22 centimeters or 22 kilograms, make sure you put that in and make sure that you specify before you start the lesson whether they need to put a space or not between the number and their unit of measure. I.e. never use a space, it just makes things easier. Okay. You can also give answer feedback. So if you're dealing with money, you could write in here, okay. If you're working with decimals, make sure that you've rounded up or down, something like that, okay? Press done. So you just go on, duplicate that for however many questions you've put down. And once you've done it, you're finished. So what you'll need to do is go send, get the link, and then copy out the URL. And then you can put that directly into Google Classroom, and students will be able to go through this, fill in their answers, and then check on what they've done. Okay, I'm going to show you now what the student view looks like to show you just how simple it is for the students to be able to do this. So here's my student view. I'm just going to put in my answers. And then I am going to click submit. There we go. So on this page here, they can view their score. I can see here that I've got this one correct, 2 and 3 correct, but I need to retry number 1. So I can edit my response and then have a go at question 1 again. I can then submit, view my score, and see if I've got it right the second time round. So I've still got that wrong the second time round. I might need to ask the teacher how I've done. And there you go. It's that simple to run, to set up, and to go through. This will take you, unless you're giving students 100 questions in a lesson, which is probably not the best thing to do. you'll be able to knock one of these out in less than the time it would take you to print, walk to the printer, and come back with the worksheets. Okay, it will save you, and I've tried this with my class, and it saved me so much time and so much running around in the lesson. Because it made because the students could check their own answers. It meant they were automatic. They weren't waiting around. They weren't waiting for me to mark the work. They got that instant feedback. Okay, so hopefully this will be useful for you. Let me know how it goes. I really, really think this is super useful. And if you're teaching maths, you should really be checking out and trying this. Okay, have a great time, everyone, and I will see you all soon.